to put them out. Now is the time to put them out.
Now is the time.
No, no, no. The time is no. No, no. The time is no. No, no. The time is no. No, no.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
Now is the time for action. What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start the work. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to take a stand. Cause the UNC have the plan. Put up your hand if you understand.
Kanhai, Chairman of the United National Congress. I am in the constituency of Toco-Sangre Grande today with our candidate, Ms. Nabila Green, for this constituency. And right at this moment, we are actually in Grand Riviere, Nabila's hometown, where she was born, bred, and grew up. And we are here campaigning with her to make sure that Nabila Green becomes the next Member of Parliament for Toco-Sangre Grande, as well as to ensure that the United National Congress returns to government and Kamala Persad-Bissessar returns as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Hi, I am Nabila Green, your candidate for Toco-Sangre Grande. Presently, I'm in my hometown, Grand Riviere, with my UNC family, accompanied by biological family. We are on the ground, we are working hard, we are going from house to house, reminding of my villagers rather, of how important it is to come out and vote for election day for the representation that we desperately need. Now is the time for proper representation. Now is the time to make sure I'm registered. Now is the time where 50,000 jobs will be available if you come out and vote. Now is also the time for secondary school children to have access to laptops. Now is the time. Now is time to vote for Nabila Green.
Now is the time!
No, no, the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, no, no.
Here we are in Akono village walking with our candidate, Mr. David Nakid. This is his hometown, and I think there are about 197 Nakids in this village.
Right now, everything is looking great so far, the candidate, sticking up to the word, Right now, we started with agriculture, I think up in the back of Kono there for the youths and them to bring them out, get them employment. David Nakid, David Nakid is a down to earth man. Cool, he humble, he just listen, he arms open out for everyone. Yeah, David representing the youths, Yes, right now we are on the great road to victory.
Hi everyone, I'm your candidate for Tinapuna, David Nakid, asking you to come take a look at the energy that the UNC is generating all around the East-West corridor, especially here in the constituency of Tinapuna. Come out and support our economic and social transformation package, designated by our PL Kamala Persad-Bissessar. 50,000 more jobs, lower taxes. Come and join with us moving forward with unity.
Hi, nice to meet you. Right? Looking forward to the support. Things going very well here at Barataria San Juan. The energy is high, the election bell has rung, and Barataria San Juan is ready to get Trinidad and Tobago working again under the leadership of the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar as our next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
I am Sharon Marad Garam, Shadow Councillor for Barataria, and we have been working Barataria since last Wednesday. So far, when we are finished today, we would have completed 14 of our PDs, and the reception is exceptional. Everyone is coming out. In places where we think people wouldn't be coming out, they are coming out. Now is the time for the United National Congress. It's pace on the road.
Now is the time to put them out. 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 No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no.
Good night to the Honorable Political Leader of the UNC, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, who in a few weeks will once again retain the title of Prime Minister of this beloved country. All chosen yet winning candidates present, and to the listening and viewing public. I, Rodney Stowe, is the selected candidate by the party chosen to represent my constituency of Laventille West. I am a born Laventillian who to this day still wake up to the fresh air and the view of the city from the hill. I stand here proud and honored to be chosen to serve. Laventille West is a constituency built with and filled with love and rich culture, despite the cards we have been dealt with. We have a great sense of family life and a goal-driven mindset for greatness. I stand here gratified to serve under the United National Congress, a party that led us to victory in May 2010. During this term in office, the country saw record-breaking achievements from opening of the Couva Children's Hospital, distribution of laptops to which thousands of children was afforded an advanced education, constructions of schools, roads, development of communities which never saw the light of day decade, and jobs creation for over 40,000 citizens, to which persons from my community benefited. The Land for the Landless program saw many residents starting a new life and a realization of squatters within deeds of comfort in majority accomplished in my community. This is a big plan for people of Trinidad and Tobago. It is no secret my constituency has been neglected for many years under the current administration. Year of bitterness and no remorse towards the very said persons that elect them. Over 2 decades of no social programs or community centers to encourage and build the mindset of the youth in the area. To change the focus away from life of crime and more towards developing sportsmen, doctors, teachers, health officers, and even politicians. We have suffered the worst with terrible roads, eroding from poor water drainage, which created major landslips in the community. In Laventille West, poor street lights have been the norm, failing from TNTech to provide lights to an already depressed area. We all know Laventille West, as I mentioned, is a cultural center full of talent and from every corner, from Best Village in the greatest in folk performing and pan playing, which I am a part internationally as one of the finest yet. So one can only imagine how thrilling I am to hear that our party in its 2020 plan will be constructing the East Port of Spain steel pan manufacturing facility. This party recognized the need to continue culture tradition. Our biggest downfall is the current government. We are created of employment, job security for persons of my constituency is not a priority. Nothing was afforded to them. Continue the chain of broken homes due to financial instability. But this ends tonight. We say no more to this form of abuse. No more to neglect from the government you select no more to bring forms of left out of the financial gains that our country, which we contribute. The Master Plan 2020 to 2025 indicates that great change is coming. In a few weeks, a new dawn is on the horizon. I want to assure you, the residents of my community of Laventille West, have nothing to fear under my watch. A vote for me is a vote of hope. A vote for me is a vote of productivity. A vote for me is a vote for opportunity. A vote for me is a vote for change and renewed spirit in the community. Let your vote count. Let us work together in bringing back the true essence of a great community. Come August 10th, the United National Congress will emerge victorious and will be starting our process of building Laventille West from the ground up. With this, I close by saying, now is the time. Do your part and bring change to the country. Vote UNC. Vote for Rodney Stowe as your new NP for Laventille West. Good night.
No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, no, no.
Live from the United National Congress virtual campaign, on the ballot now, the candidate for Arima, Flora Singh.
Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time.
Madam Political Leader of the UNC and former Prime Minister and soon to be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. To our listening audience, my fellow candidates, ladies and gentlemen, and most of all, to all my fellow Arimians. I decided to become a candidate in the upcoming 2020 general election. And my decision is based on the continued neglect of the constituency of Arima by the PNM. I am a mother, and I come from humble beginnings and hail from diverse multi-ethnic heritage. My passion runs deep for our less fortunate, street dwellers, destitute, and the youth in our communities. As a manager, I employed young people because my interest was to see them progress. I have served you as a local government councillor. I have prayed with you in the church. I have shopped alongside you in the market. I am a servant of the people. This constituency of Arima has spent over 4 decades under the PNM and 10 years under other administrations. So tell me, who is responsible for the state of Arima? In case you were not listening or paying attention, let me tell you about the state of Arima. I have served in the Arima constituency and have watched our poor and our less fortunate continue to suffer. With respect to the Human Development Index, it is one of the poorest constituencies in the country and is ranked among the lowest in health, education, and income. Just imagine a place that means water is suffering from a lack of water. But that was not the case in 2010 and 2015 under the Kamla Prasad Bisesa government. For 30 years, we struggled to get a proper hospital in Arima, but that too began under the Kamla Prasad Bisesa government. Just for your information, Arima had 3 former ministers of health, the likes of John Rahal, Jerry Naris, Max Awang, but it took a wise woman to start the hospital. Thank you, Madam Minister. Stay with me for a while. Keep your imagination going. Let's talk about education. Several schools were built and upgraded under the former administration. And when I say former, I'm not talking about the present government. They're soon to be former come August 10th. I am referring to the Kamla Prasad Bisesa administration 2010-2015. Under the PNM, 2 schools in Arima have suffered neglect: the Arima Central Secondary and the Lafayette Primary School. The sod was turned and for the Lafayette Primary School and was abandoned by the PNM. A new wing was started under the Kamla Prasad Bisesa government at the Central Secondary School in Arima, and that too was abandoned. Who is the Minister of Education? In case you did not know, the MP for Arima for the last 5 years is Mr. Anthony Garcia. The best period of representation Arima saw was in 2010-2015, and let me tell you why. We built the Mount Pleasant Bridge, which was cut off from Arima for 28 years, which the PNM said it could not have built. We built a brand new police station in Arima. We started the new Arima Hospital. We renovated and upgraded the Blanchisseuse police station. We upgraded the fishing depot in Blanchisseuse. We began a natural tourism site on the Blanchisseuse to Arima Road, and that too was abandoned by the PNM. We totally constructed a new bridge on the Eastern Main Road to Valencia, and that bridge was collapsing under the PNM. And you know what they did? They put a traffic light. That's the nature of the PNM. They either stop us, they tell us when to wait, and they tell us when to go. I can go on and on, but the time has not permitted me to do so, the amount of work that has been done in Arima. But my goal as the new MP for Arima is to continue the excellent work and development that had started in 2010-2015. I intend to focus on the resurgence of sport and culture in Arima. In the time past, Arima was known for excellent cricket and football. We had had some of the best athletics clubs in Trinidad and Tobago. Cycling was one of our pride and joy, and I intend to lift that back up again. Communities in Arima have been neglected for the last 5 years. I intend to work with these communities to change that by working closely with groups and community activists. I will listen to you with my ears and not with my mouth. We will make decisions together, Arima. I am ready to work with you because I have heard your cry and I have heed that call. I am ready for less talk and more action. And I want to say, going forward, I look forward to meeting all constituents so that together we can achieve a better Arima. Now is the time to get Arima working again in putting people first. I want to take this opportunity to thank the political leader the executive, the Arima UNC executive, for placing this confidence in me to serve you and to serve the people of Arima. Thank you.
No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no. No, no, the time is no, no, no.
Live from the United National Congress virtual platform, the candidate for Dabadi Omera, Maurice Hoyt.
Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time to vote them out.
Good night, Trinidad and Tobago. My name is Maurice Jamal Hoyt. I'm a father, a PhD student, and I've been a teacher for over 15 years. I was born and raised in Dabadi Omera, phase 2, Malabar to be exact, and by 2 loving and hard-working public servants. Being involved in the issues that affect my community and country have always been my passion. I firmly believe that the time has come for me to offer myself as a servant of the people. And after prayerful consideration and my family discussions, I have decided to accept this assignment. I am seeking to create effective change, working with the United National Congress and its visionary leader, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, to give my community of Dabadi Omera a real choice and a real future. Families must be able to do more than survive financially. Families must be allowed to prosper. None of us can raise a family, build a business, heal a community, or lift a country in this current state. Change is needed. We need a country where the economy works for everyone. As a resident of Dabadi Omera and a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, I demand better because we deserve better. I believe I can bring some common sense ideas and solutions straight from the people to the House of Representatives. As a champion for education, community, and entrepreneurship, I have a plan for a brighter and secure future for Dabadi Omera. I am ready to deliver it. I will be the representation you can see, feel, touch, and I know with the dedication, love, understanding, and passion of the constituents of Dabadi Omera, we will liberate our beautiful community. I say to you today, we will get to it. We will get with it. And we will get through it together. As I believe we can do all things through Christ our Lord who strengthens us. Again, my name is Maurice Jamal Hoyt. I am UNC and I'm proud.
No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, no, no.
Live from the United National Congress virtual platform, former Minister of Energy, Kevin Ramnarine.
Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time.
Thank you very much. Honorable Political Leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, members of the UNC National Executive, hardworking members of the executive, thousands of people listening on the internet. Tonight, we are here to discuss the general election, which is 3 weeks away, when this country will be called upon to make a critical decision. What is the main issue in this election? What is the issue that has people worried the most? The main issue in this election, in my opinion, is the state of the economy of Trinidad and Tobago and the future of that economy. The Trinidad and Tobago economy last grew in 2015. It grew in that year by 1.8% under the leadership of former Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. In that year, Petrotrin was fully functional, and 20 of the world-scale plants at Point Lisas were fully operational. Yes, there were challenges at Petrotrin in those days, but those challenges were made infinitely worse by decisions taken by the PNM between 2016 and 2018. Today, the Pointe-Pierre refinery is dark, and that was 19 months ago. That was 19 months ago. And 8 of the 20 plants at Point Lisas are now closed. In 2015, oil production in this country was 78,600 barrels of oil per day. Today, it is around 56,700 barrels of oil per day, a decline of 28% in 5 years and billions of dollars lost. In 2015, natural gas production was 3.84 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day. Today, it is down to 3.44. That is a decline of 10%, and that situation that I just described would have been a lot worse had the former cabinet, under the leadership of the then Prime Minister, not intervened to provide incentives to stimulate investment in exploration, as we did between 2010 and 2015. Again, in 2015, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, together with world-class investors Mitsubishi, turned the sod to start a new methanol plant in La Brea. That was 2015. Today, 5 years later, instead of opening new methanol plants, we are closing methanol plants. And our industrial base, which stretch from Point Lisas to our north, all the way down to Point 14 in the south, is contracting. In 2015, our drilling activity in this country was 2,765 rig days. In 2019, that has collapsed to 1,455 rig days. And I say this because the Prime Minister has been repeating over and over when he speaks that drilling is happening and so much wonderful drilling is happening all over the country. But the facts and the figures, and I deal with facts and figures and data, I don't shoot from the hip like the Prime Minister. The facts say that drilling is down in that 4-year period, 2015 to 2019, by 50%. And as the leader pointed out last week, Thursday, in the last virtual meeting, it has gotten significantly worse in the year 2020. In 2015, the foreign reserves of this country in May 2015, and I'm choosing May because I'm comparing May 2015 to May 2020, was $10.8 billion. Today, May 2020, $6.9 billion. So that is a significant reduction in our foreign reserves. But that's not the only part of the story. Within that $6.9 billion, which is where we are today, is a significant amount of money that the country has borrowed on the international market. So it's about $2 billion of that 6.9 is borrowed money. So it would be a lot worse. And between 2011 and 2015, the Kamla Persad-Bissessar administration awarded 1.418, I'll give you 3 decimal places tonight, 1.418 million hectares of acreage for exploration. That compares to 41,000 hectares awarded in the last 4 years under the Rowley administration, a 34-fold decline. Thank you, Anna. I give these comparisons because we have been hearing the Prime Minister say that the energy sector is in a better place. But that is normally what you say about somebody when they die, that they are in a better place. And today, in The Guardian, we saw the Minister of Energy said that the energy sector is alive and kicking. This is the same Minister of Energy who has not given as much as a square inch of new acreage for exploration in the last 5 years. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister blames the closure of those 8 plants in Point Lisas on COVID-19. And COVID-19 has become the convenient go-to excuse for a lot of the misery happening in the energy sector and in the wider economy. But what he doesn't tell us is what is the role of political intrusion in the year 2017 in negotiations between the NGC and its suppliers. And if you listen to the comments coming out of the plants that have closed, from Proman and Yara and from Nutrien, they have all cited how expensive natural gas has become in Trinidad and Tobago in recent years, more so in the last 2 years. So the result of all this economic stagnation, contraction, and malaise is a contracting economy. As I pointed out, the economy has not grown in 5 years. Collectively, our economy has declined by 12.75% in the last 5 years, making Trinidad and Tobago one of the worst performing economies in the world. This is a fact that I checked myself on the IMF database. And we are in company with Venezuela, which is the worst performing economy in the world, with Libya, with Yemen, with Lebanon, and with Puerto Rico, a country which was devastated by a hurricane. So our economy has made us all, the performance of the economy under the leadership of Colm Imbert has made us all poorer today than we were 5 years ago. And I understand, and I think we all understand, that oil and gas prices have been on a roller coaster ride in recent years. But that is no excuse for the strangulation of the private sector and the choking of the economy with excessive taxation. One of the pledges made by the leader of the opposition, soon to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, is a reduction across the board of corporation tax. And that is going to release the noose which is around the neck of the private sector in Trinidad and Tobago. So the situation we face today is made worse or is compounded by dangerous debt levels. The total debt of the country is now around approximately 127 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars, and that is inclusive of something called contingent liability. The PNM's plan seems to be what I call rain dance economics. And rain dance economics means that you beat the drum and hope that rain falls, as used to happen when you look at those old westerns from a long time. And the rain that they're expecting to fall is a turnaround in oil and natural gas prices. They have been waiting for that for the last 5 years, and it has not happened because we are living in a different world. So I say all that to give a picture of where we are. And I'm not saying that because I want to be a prophet of doom. I'm saying that because if we are to navigate the economy forward and give this country the economy it deserves, we need to clearly define reality. We are in economic pain that has been brought on by the policies of the Minister of Finance. And what we are doing to numb that pain is taking painkillers. And the two painkillers that we've been taking for the last 5 years is borrowing, going to the bank internationally and locally and borrowing money. And the second painkiller, the latest painkiller on the market, is draining of the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. Those strategies are not sustainable and they will collapse. So what about the future? What is the plan going forward? The future requires courageous, bold economic leadership that is transformative. The political leader of the UNC, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, has advocated such transformation in the UNC's transformation plan, which I fully endorse. Last Thursday, she spoke about the need to reform the fiscal regime governing the energy sector to stimulate investment and to get companies drilling again. And I gave you the figures about how drilling has collapsed under this government. That is needed because the fastest way to turn this economy around is to increase oil and gas activity and production. We also have to get those plants in Point Lisas all fully up and running again. And what does that all mean? It means that if we do that, we resuscitate the hundreds of energy service companies and contractors in places like Mayaro, in places like Pointe-à-Pierre, Claxton Bay, San Fernando, La Brea, and Point Fortin. And I'm speaking largely about the economy of South Trinidad here. And before I move out South Trinidad, before I came here today, I spoke to some Petrotrin retirees. And they are very concerned about two things. One is that when Petrotrin was shut down in November 2018, the retirees were given a 2-year medical plan to tide them through. That 2 years is about to expire. That 2 years will expire in November 2020. And what I am told is that approximately 20,000 people, retirees plus their dependencies, will be without health care, without a medical plan. And they will have to face the private and the public health system. So that, of course, is of great concern because these people, prior to 2018, were of the opinion that they would have received medical care from Petrotrin for the remainder of their lives. The second issue is the pension plan of Petrotrin. And these points that I am making affect thousands of people living mainly in South Trinidad who used to work Petrotrin. The actuarial review for the 3-year period ending September 2019, that report is soon to be made available to members of the pension plan. And I can tell you that the 7,000 retirees of Petrotrin are very concerned about what that actuarial review may say. And it may well be that at some point in the not too distant future, the government of Trinidad and Tobago may have to take action, and that may well be a UNC government, not may well be, will be a UNC government, will have to take action to save the lives and the livelihoods of Petrotrin pensioners. And I make the point again, these are people who have served Trinidad and Tobago well, who have given their lives to the development of this country, and they are now facing the threat, the anxiety of life without the benefits that they worked for when they were at Petrotrin. The political leader has also spoken in her transformation plan about Galeota. And when we were in government, under her leadership, we completed the first phase of the Galeota port. And I want to say that her vision for Galeota as a regional logistics hub is a brilliant vision. And for that to be realized, we have to finish phase 2 of the Galeota port. When we were in government, we finished phase 1. This government has not been able to start phase 2. They had some RFP in the papers that I think went nowhere. That Galeota port is going to become a regional logistics hub to service the deepwater oil industry in Suriname and in Guyana, and it will create thousands of jobs and possibly a new industrial base in southeastern Trinidad. So we have to also mobilize the private sector and make them partners in rebuilding Trinidad and Tobago. And for that to happen, the private sector has to have confidence in the government and confidence in the economy. For that not to happen, you buff up the private sector, you call them in the Hyatt and you drag them all over the place and buff them up, and that is how you demotivate businessmen. And that is what happened in this country in the last 5 years. A lot of buffing of the private sector went on. So, in winding up, there's a lot more for me to say about the energy sector and about the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, but time doesn't permit. And I will end by saying that our country is not beyond redemption. However, the window to save this country and to right-side this country and to stop the decline and decay of the last 5 years, that window is getting smaller. The country cannot continue in this declining trajectory. So on the 10th of August, vote for visionary economic leadership that is needed to pull this country back from the brink and to put us on a path to prosperity for all. Thank you very much.
No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, no, no.
At a time when our country is in turmoil, many are crying out for leadership. As we face a crucial general election, she presents not just herself, but her years of experience and ideas to the nation. She's not alone. On her side is the strongest, smartest, and diverse team that's ready to lead a brighter tomorrow. Now is the time to get it right with the brightest candidates, a tested master plan, and most of all, a progressive political party, the United National Congress. It's with great honor to present to the nation and the thousands online, on air, and around the world, the clear choice for Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. On the ballot now, Senior Counsel, Kamla Prasad Bisessa.
Hello everyone, here we are again with you, and we thank you for joining us in this virtual meeting. We'll be holding many more of these meetings because tomorrow is a very important day, and the days that follow are even more important as we journey on our way to victory on August 10th. Tomorrow is nomination day, a few hours away, when our candidates will have their papers vetted and filed to contest the election. So, few hours for nomination day, I address you, and I have a message of great hope for you. I am convinced that the UNC will win the election on August 10th. I can feel it, I can taste it, I can see it. And on the ground, it is the same everywhere we go. The entire country has gone yellow. I am confident that our team, candidates and non-candidates alike, we have a very strong team. I want to thank our former Minister Kevin, who joined us tonight, and the candidates who spoke. We have a team of experienced people. We have a team of younger people. And so we will have that mix of young and not so young to take us forward on this journey to reclaim Trinidad and Tobago and, of course, to stop the slide that we have been experiencing. I know that some people are concerned. And in fact, the black man on the other side talked about kindergarten. What a great disservice and disrespect to the young people of this country. Says the team is a kindergarten team. Well, look, I prefer have this team of young people than the geriatrics you have. Because the same things that you have done and not done for 5 years, you have brought them all back to do nothing, blank again, for another 5 years. We must get new people, we must blood new ones, and we also have the ones who are experienced have been there. So Kevin, thank you, and all the others who have remained loyal, Team UNC, we thank you. We have built our campaign on sound and reasonable plans. I've told you we have smart objectives, we have smart targets, and these plans will give us over 50,000 new jobs. On Saturday, we will meet again as we present our candidates. And on Saturday, I'll tell you a little more about how we save jobs that have been lost and bring those jobs back. So our plan tonight, I'm sharing with you, is how to create 50,000 new jobs. But in addition to that, we will have to help those businesses, the small businesses, who have suffered, have let their workers go. We'll have to help them to recreate the jobs that have been lost. So the new jobs as well as the older jobs that have been lost, that we will work with the private sector to bring those jobs back. I want to spend a little time talking about what is considered strong leadership. Strong leaders govern, yes, with compassion, but weak leaders govern through fear. Strong leaders govern through the heart. Weak leaders govern through fear. I'll give you, stop for a minute and just think. When you see Keith Rowley, if you see Keith Rowley there, and you see Kamala there, which one you think you could just walk up and say hello to? Which one will you be not afraid of? I think you know the answer to that. Because of their arrogance, because of the abuse that the strong man, who thinks he's a strong man, who is really a dictator. Be honest with yourself to answer that question. One of the problems that people face, populations face, has always been with leadership, where there's a tendency for the emergence of callous strongman leaders. They pass themselves off as heroes. They're strong, they're brave, bold. Yes, they use well-established tactics of stimulating fear in people to manipulate citizens, to implement divide and rule, putting citizen against citizen. These tactics include group differences, contamination and threat, accentuating importance and benefits of self-interest rather than the interests of the common good. And all the while, they falsely offer themselves as strong leaders to defend and support you as an individual in their group. I want to give you two examples of this callous strongman manipulation, masking itself as strong leadership. While the majority of countries in the Caribbean and in the world are finding ways to bring their citizens back home, your nationals back home, they have found every reason not to bring our nationals back to Trinidad and Tobago. To cover their incompetence, they resort to divide and rule strongman tactics, and they put the nationals here, pitting you here against our nationals abroad. So it's how we're protecting you, so the rest of them, you could stay out. They use the line, I am paying the price for protecting the population. Paying the price, but the price you will pay is on August 10th, we will vote you out. We have to go, Rowley has to go. He says, I am paying the price for protecting the population. Do what? To stir up sympathy in the population for himself. He's always playing the victim, we know that. And then at the same time, he's ruling, he's making these words to create fear in your hearts. They say, listen, I'm protecting you from COVID death. But in the meantime, people are dying. Those nationals stranded abroad in more ways than one. And so he makes us see our citizens stranded abroad as outsiders and uses this to stop hate and resentment for those who are here at home. That is the same principle of manipulation that he uses to cover the fact he never had a plan besides closing the borders. And what did he do? The strong man. What did he do? He closed the borders. Isn't that what everybody did? Isn't that what the WHO guidelines said? Look, close your borders. In fact, I called for the closure of the borders. If you recall, after the first death, I mentioned it before. And you close the borders. I want to thank the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who followed the WHO guidelines, and they are the ones who have kept us safe. Not Rowley. Has no plan to bring our nationals home when everywhere else nationals are being brought back home. Shame on you, Mr. Prime Minister. Shame on you. That is your strong man. So you want to use this COVID to the hilt to show that you protected the citizens. The people of Trinidad and Tobago protected themselves by following the world guidelines. Blame, bully, berate, belittle. That is the behavior of a weak leader. A strong leader has compassion, love, and kindness to bring citizens united together. For those of you who sit on the fence and ignore this tyrant strongman behavior, I want to ask yourself a question. When he attacks and turns you into the next victim, like he did to so many others, and make you the villain outside of his little group and mob, what will you do? Today is Gabriel Faria. Yesterday it was the economist. The day before was religious leaders. It is always someone else that he blames and bullies to create distancing, not social, to turn one group as against the other. You see, their only plan is to attack people because they have no idea how to generate any sort of income to improve your lives. The only thing they know is tax, 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 borrow, 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 and spend, spend, spend. Online tax, tire tax, can you imagine a tire tax? You don't even have proper roads to drive on. You have to pay a tax for the tire to drive on the bad roads. Corporate taxes increased. Value-added tax, property tax. And by the way, if you make that mistake on August 10, they bring back that property tax. Huh? Property tax, everything is a tax. I've always said you cannot tax an economy into prosperity. As a British Prime Minister once said, and I quote, "For a nation to tax itself into prosperity, it is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle of the bucket." You cannot tax a nation into prosperity. It's not possible. How much more can people take? Yes, we must get revenue, but there are other ways to create revenue streams. We have a plan to do just that, not the tax. The next UNC government will not subject our citizens to punishment over taxation and through taxation, over taxation. We will work to put money in your pockets, so you bring hope and success back to your lives. And how will we do this? We will lower taxes. I repeat, we will lower taxes, corporate taxes, and personal income taxes. And of course, we will take off the VAT again on food items. As we did before, over 7,000 food items, we had removed the VAT, which they put it back on, and then tell you you have less VAT to pay. So we will lower the taxes. And by doing that, this would enable each and every citizen to be able to invest in the way of life they deserve. By reducing taxes on small businesses, we'll open the way for thousands of jobs to be created, and thereby putting even more money in the pockets of our citizens. By reducing taxes for businesses, we will encourage investment, increase competitiveness, and allow for the expansion of business operations. We will remove the nuisance tax, that is the online purchase tax. We will remove the online purchase tax. All that is done is added to the burden that small businesses and micro businesses face in obtaining supplies. The UNC wants to make things easier for businesses to thrive. And in the current climate of this global pandemic, it is more critical that we create the environment for businesses to strive. When they strive, the population does well, the jobs are created, and there is a better quality and quantity in terms of a livelihood under such a regime. We will not proceed with the PNM's poorly thought out revenue authority. So it's tax, borrow, spend. So they want a revenue authority. In the law, in that revenue authority, they want to put a minister of finance as a man picking who is going in that revenue authority, because they really want to get into your business. Their whole thing is to get into your private business. We rejected that revenue authority, and a UNC government will not proceed with a revenue authority. Then what will we do? We will increase the efficiency of the Board of Inland Revenue and Customs and Excise instead of creating this new hybrid entity, which in my view is unconstitutional, that revenue authority. And so we will raise billions more in revenue per year when we strengthen the BIR and the Customs and Excise Division. We also have some plans for developing our digital economy. And I'll spend a moment talking about our digital plans for our economy. One is App Development Investment Program. Over the past 5 years, absolutely nothing has been done to diversify our economy. We intend to address this when we get into office by implementing a number of strategies. You know, every one person in your lifetime has had a $1 million idea. Everyone has had a great idea, but probably never got off the ground, mainly because of lack of funding. Today, in the digital age, there are tremendous opportunities in business to develop apps which people can download on their devices like this, mobile devices. These apps cost very little money, relatively, and they can earn significant revenues. Let me remind you, the Uber app, for example, costs about $100,000 to develop. Do you know how much it's worth today? Today it is worth $30 billion, that Uber app. Our entire national budget is just $7 billion. Candy Crush was developed for a cost of $30,000. It is now worth $946 million. In TNT, we do have an overwhelming number of bright, tech-savvy young people full of ideas. We intend to harness their energy and their entrepreneurial spirit by launching an app development program which will be open to all our citizens, young people, regardless of race, religion, color, social or economic position. To execute this program, we intend to partner with an independent organization. So how will it work? Young people from all walks of life will be invited to pitch their ideas to a panel. A panel will evaluate their proposals and then make recommendations. The panel will evaluate and make recommendations. We will then act as angel investors, that is the government, a UNC government, and we will fund the development of the selected apps. For our investment, government will retain 49% of shareholding in what could turn out to be the next Facebook or Waze and other such great projects that have come to pass in this digital age. So all we need is for one, just even one of these apps to hit big. And we'll cover all our investments, taking a giant step towards diversifying the economy and at the same time earning significant foreign exchange, earning significant revenue to fund our other projects. In addition, we have a plan for a biotechnology, using biotechnology businesses to grow the economy, to create jobs, and of course, create revenue streams and earn foreign exchange. Our country has a lot that we have great comparative advantages in. As I've said, it's not just sun, sea, and sand. We can find that in many other places. So this thing about sun, sea, and sand tourism, yes, we will not discourage it, but there is so much more we can do. We have a unique comparative advantage that we can leverage growing global demand in biotechnology businesses. So what does this mean? A new UNC government will be committed to the following initiatives to develop biotechnology business. One, we will increase biotechnology research and development funding. We'll provide the required R&D funding for biotechnology research, and we will develop development to the cluster of tertiary education institutions located mainly in St. Augustine. Of course, we have talked about St. Augustine as being the education city of Trinidad and Tobago. But of course, we have one not too far from here. A UNC government will open the UWI South Campus, which is just a short distance from where we are, so that we will increase the number of tertiary places available to Trinidad and Tobago citizens as well as to the CARICOM, which will also bring us more foreign exchange. Secondly, we will establish a national venture capital fund to promote biotechnology startups. Thirdly, we will set up bioresearch launchpads. We will set up bioresearch launchpads. This will provide a platform for local natural and applied scientists to access regional and global ideas and opportunities. 4, we will establish the East-West Biotechnology Manufacturing Corridor. Manufacturing. You know, someone told me when you come off the beatum and you're along the corridor there, just be a lot of businesses operating, which meant a lot of jobs. All those have just gone away. We have to create a biotechnology manufacturing corridor, East-West manufacturing corridor in biotechnology. So what will we do? We will invite private investors to establish a biotechnology manufacturing zone along the East-West corridor to create jobs. This corridor will attract entrepreneurs and firms, both local and international. And so we'll create a cluster of industrial applications in agro, health and wellness, and industrial and environmental biotechnology. Such areas could include therapeutic, exotic livestock development, integrated aquaculture systems, biopesticides, crop genetic improvement, aging medicine. I think many of us could benefit from that, aging medicine, and bioinformatics and environmental conservation. This is our East-West corridor, biotechnology manufacturing corridor. To do what? To create jobs, to grow the economy. And the more jobs we create, yes, we'll get some taxes from that too. But we will not be raising the taxes to such inordinate levels. Imagine a man goes on national TV. He said, we raised the price of gas 3 times. And you remember that? They haven't arrived yet. They arrived yet. A minister of government could sit with foreigners. There was an international audience there, and sit in this big chair and laugh at the people of Trinidad and Tobago because he raised the price of gas 3 times. Minister, on August 10th, you will also be gone. With these initiatives I mentioned for the biotechnology corridor, we intend to create over 5,000 new jobs just with that biotechnology corridor. And we will create these 5,000 new jobs. We will be able to obtain almost US $1.5 billion in FDI inflows. What's FDI? foreign direct investment. In the almost 5 years of this Rowley government, this failed incompetent government, not 1 cent of foreign direct investment has come into Trinidad and Tobago. What have we had instead? We've had reverse, negative, reverse, minus, minus, minus. Not just at ground zero, minus, which means FDI is moving away from Trinidad. Kevin would have told you, the plant, the Mitsubishi plant, thanks to the government I led and thanks to former Minister of Energy, that plant created thousands of jobs whilst it was in construction. And then, of course, now this open will bring foreign exchange to Trinidad and Tobago, thanks to the government I led. And I want you to remember something. Huh? We must work to rebuild our nation. We must work to secure a brighter, more prosperous future for our children and the generations to come. It's not just about today. This is about our children tomorrow and their children thereafter. Rowley and the PNM, they want us to forget the past 5 years. All they want you to do is to think about COVID, and I'll talk a little more about that. The whole campaign is, oh, goy, be this so good. Well done, Rowley. Well done, I handled this thing so great, this COVID. They want us to forget for 5 years. You were there, you were governing, the economy has collapsed, and people are suffering. Never forget, under this Rowley regime, about 100,000 jobs have been lost. Over 100,000 jobs have been lost. Never forget, this is the same man who stood on a public platform with national TV giving him coverage. And he says the government is not closing down Petrotrin. And in case you didn't hear me and you were opening the fridge door, closing the fridge door, the government is not closing down Petrotrin. And lo and behold, just mere weeks later, Petrotrin shut down and all gone. Kevin has spoken to you about the retirees from Petrotrin and some of the plans we have with respect to them. Never forget, this is the same man. When, the same Petrotrin, huh? You remember fake oil? He said yes. The man called him. He called the man. He never called his Minister of Energy. He never called the Petrotrin board. But when my story broke of the fake oil, he called his best friend, his bestie, as we say. Never forget that. And so, I want you to understand that our plans to create these jobs, there will be a space and a place for everyone. There's a space and a place for everyone in the house of the rising sun. August 10th is fast approaching. We are ready to return good governance to Trinidad and Tobago. And in this election, of course, you have a choice. There's a clear choice. Forget the small parties, it's their democratic right. They put their names. I don't think they're going to interfere with the votes Naked will get into Napuna or the votes that anybody else is getting. I'm just saying Naked here, JJ getting in La Hoqueta. It's not going to affect any of that. So just concentrate on who is the real political rival. The choice is clear. It is Rowley or Kamla. That is your choice come August 10th. And you have to make that decision. I will tell you something. Let me describe someone for you. When you hear it, tell me who comes to your mind. This man is an aggressive tyrant, always attacking, always berating, always bullying and blaming everyone but himself. He has attacked school children. Remember, hyenas in a, wherever he said the school children, hyenas in an African jungle. Said that about our school children. He has attacked women. He has attacked the police. He has attacked the judiciary. He's attacked business leaders. He's attacked religious heads. And of course, he has attacked the media. And his attacks are so vicious that he even turned on his own leaders and his own party. And they say, if you don't know what I'm talking about, fill in the blanks. I don't have to name that man. You fill in the blanks. You could fill them in. And talking about blanks, what has Blank done for Trinidad and Tobago for the past almost 5 years? What has he done? Almost 5 years. What has Blank done for you as a citizen? I could answer that, not a blanking thing. He's not done a single blanking thing, Mr. Blank. So, if he's blanking you, what will you do come August 10th? Let us blank him out of office on August 10th and vote UNC. I want to show you a little video. If Kevin can run it. Take a look at their screen, please.
Make sure the talk is done now. Time to start back the work now. All the talk done, all the talk done. Work nation!
and it's strained. Is UNC you voted for? Talk done. Talk done. Country need to strive. Talk done.
Now is the time.
No, no, no. The time is no, no, no. The time is no, no, no. The time is no, no, no.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
Now is the time for action. What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to work. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to take a stand. Cause the UNC have the plan. Put up your hand if you understand.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand,
It's for the UNC and the rising sun, 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 sun.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
No.
What time it is?
Well, what we've been showing you is some of the work we did. And you know the saying, performance beats old talk anytime and every time. That's what I put up on the screen for you. We delivered the laptops, we built roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, police stations. They used to call us the box rain government. You remember that? I know a lot of people now will be very happy to get a box rain where there's flooding. We helped with that to ease the flooding. So much we did in that 5 years we were there. I ask you again, what has Blanc done in the 5 years they've been there? Only thing they seem bent on doing is blame Kamla. If it rains, blame Kamla. If it's dry, blame Kamla. Everything it is. But when it's one of our projects they are turning the key for, they blank us out and take the credit. Let's remember that. Arima Hospital, who built it? The People's Partnership. Point Fortin Hospital, the Mitsubishi plant. These are just some of the things that they are now claiming they did when they did nothing at all. So someone asked me tonight before we came, what are our chances to win this election? I want to make a little joke with you. I swear, if I could have picked any politician in any election, any time, from Williams to Chambers to Manning to Blanc, I would pick Keith Blanc anytime. Anytime. The choice is clear, Kamla or Keith. And, I think people, I really feel sorry now in a way. I know there are a lot of people grieving for Mr. Manning. He was always a decent gentleman. We fought on political grounds. And he has been replaced by Mr. Blanc. I will pick Blanc any day to give him a licking of his life on August 10th. So, this man has to be the biggest non-performer in our nation's history. I ask again, what has he done for you in the 5 years? Forget the old talk, what has he done for you? Think about it. What has he done for you, Archie? Think about it. And so, he makes a name for himself with the ferry fiasco. Yes, we'll remember him for that. He makes a name for himself with the ins and outs and the doubts and the shouts about Marley McDonald. He makes a name for himself by recording the highest unemployment numbers in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. That's what he's done, and we must not forget the things that he did. He makes a name for himself, you know what? By selling out Petrotrin, and yet refusing to tell you who is behind it. And you have to ask, as I did before, wait again, didn't this just happen like that? Fake call came and went, and then you shut down the whole of Petrotrin. Where are those documents for investigation? You shut it down, and then you put your friend, your personal lawyer, in charge. So he's going around telling everyone, I'll talk about this again. Look, I handled COVID very well, yes? We did a great job. Well, first of all, as I told you, it is the people of Trinidad and Tobago who made those sacrifices to keep that virus under control. He says that he did a good job, and I want to ask this. Go and ask the thousands who lost their jobs. Did he do a good job for you? Go and ask the thousands who did not get a salary grant. Did he handle COVID well for you? Ask the thousands who didn't get their food cards. Did he do a good job for you? And in the meantime, go and ask the more than 10,000 of our citizens, man, stranded like vagrants in foreign countries. Did he do a good job for you? Go and ask them. I saw the lady, I saw the video Miss Pantin crying, and I think Anil mentioned that some Good Samaritan Trinidadians drove about 700 miles round trip to find her and help her and take care of her. Let's give kudos to those Trinis abroad who have helped Miss Pantin. I saw another one put up a video where something happened to her family. I think there was a fire or something. And her son was there, her mother, and she's begging to come home. In Tobago, yes, she's begging to come home. Have a heart, Mr. Rowley, bring our citizens home. And in the meantime, Rowley and Stewarty sitting down like Pontius Pilate saying, we're protecting you, you know. We're leaving these people out there. But guess what? Stewarty tell us 4,000 people have been granted exemptions since the shutdown to now. 4,000 people. When I asked the question the last time I spoke, and I said, tell us, how many people are abroad? How many have been granted exceptions and how many have come in exemptions since the shutdown? They didn't answer them, but a few days later they answered. And at that time I was saying, are you bringing your cronies through the back door? Your friends and your family through the back door? They're getting exemptions. 4,000 people. What about the rest of them? What is the criteria to determine Harry comes first, Mary comes second, Jean comes third? What is the criteria? Nobody knows. So you bring in 4,000 people, man. Who are these 4,000 people? We may know one or two, we see their names in the newspaper. Who are the rest of these people? I'm told somebody's daughter came in with a dog, is that true? The dog got exemption too? I don't know, is it true? 4,000 you have let in, and the 1,000 others out there. No, sir. You will not escape with that heartlessness and shamelessness. Ask all those people who got stuck in Barbados, you remember? Thank God to a woman, Prime Minister, Mia Motley, who took pity on our nationals. Shame on us. Shame. Took pity and kept our nationals in Barbados when they couldn't open the gates here. But they opened the gate for who? Madame Delcy and crew. By the face of people, they opened gates for them. Our students stuck in Barbados couldn't come home. Thanks to Mia Motley, who took care of them. Perhaps they're probably thinking about getting a Bajan passport now, because the Bajans treat them even better than their own government. I want you to go and ask when Rowley boasts how well he handled this COVID, go and ask the doubles vendors and the small food businesses and so on, the bar owners, ask them, did Rowley do a good job handling COVID? Did he take care of you during that time? And in the meantime, while he's shutting down these little doubles people and the bacon shack and the corn soup people, what happened? The big food chains, they were allowed to remain open. So when somebody took out a matter to go to court, that they said shut down all. Shut down all, this spitefulness. So it was okay for the big businesses, food to stay open, but you shut down doubles and corn soup and bacon shack and so on. You kept the big ones open. And when they wanted to go to court to show the discrimination, you shut down everybody. It's a kind of arrogance, hate, spite, rather than any sense of compassion or justice that they have exhibited in the handling of this COVID. And now on top of all of that, what does he do? What does he do? He says he will allow all these foreigners to come into Trinidad for CPL. So all the time you're protecting people, but hey, you're going to open up borders for CPL, or 200, 300 people, foreigners, many foreigners. You will open our borders for them and not for our own citizens. Shame on you. And you know, somebody tell me this CPL, it means Citizens Preferred Last. I like cricket sometimes. My husband's a great cricket fan. Many of you are. We have nothing against the cricket. But is it right to say you cannot take a chance to bring our citizens home? They're begging to come home. Babies, some old ones, some sick ones, some starving ones, nowhere to live, no money, separated from family, from wives, from their wife, or separated from her husband. Some little children begging to see mommy and daddy, can't come home. Some begging, as I said, to attend a funeral, can't come home. Not allowed to come home. But Rowley talking tough talk, and he could find it to be wise to bring cricketers from all over the world and open our borders for them, but doesn't have the heart for own citizens. Citizens Preferred Last in his book. Shame on you. And if that is what you call a good job, on COVID. Heaven help us when you do a bad one, but we will not let that happen. On August 10th, I urge everyone to come out and cast your vote for the UNC. Come out on August 10th, place your X next to the rising sun. Performance over old talk, jobs over joblessness, heart over heartlessness. That is the choice you will have on August 10th. The choice is very clear. The UNC will get TNT working again. We have a vision. We have proven performance. We have a track record of performance. What matters most isn't the party card you hold, What matters most is what you hold close to your heart for the better life each of you seek. You know what hard times we are facing. You know what matters most isn't red versus yellow. It is what brings out the best in harmony with all of us working together. Tonight, I put out a clarion call to all and sundry, from whichever side of the political divide, who have become disheartened and disillusioned, and with the arrogance and the aggression of the current government. I call on you to come and be part of a national accord to help to heal and restore Trinidad and Tobago. Those who were once a part of us, I say, welcome home. We all need to band together. The first word of our party is united, United National Congress. Let us come together united to fight the evil, wicked, incompetent Rowley government. There is room for everyone at the table in the House of the Rising Sun. Join the National Accord Initiative to heal and help. Don't complain about the things you are not willing to become and to change. Become a part of the change. You see all the time people complaining. Stop the complaining. We have a weapon. We have a tool to deal with all the complaints that we are getting every day, and that is on August 10th. Now is the time. Young, old, rich, poor, red, white, and black, and all the colors of the rainbow that makes up our great nation. Every shade of that rainbow in our nation. I ask you, let us come together. Let us truly become united in our bid to rescue Trinidad and Tobago from this very wicked, incompetent government. I know that we can do this together. I tell you, trust me in my heart, I trust you. See the clear choice before you and make the right choice. And the right choice cannot be Keith Rowley and the PNM. That is the worst choice. He's bad for government. He's worst for Trinidad and Tobago. That can never be the right choice. Tonight, my friends, I say good night to you. We shall meet again. On Sunday, we will journey into the constituency of Barataria San Juan to do a walkacade, motorcade, keeping the social distances in mind. And on Saturday, we'll be back for the virtual to present our slate of candidates for general election 2020. May God bless and keep you safe. And may God bless Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you very much.
Now is the time!
No! The time is no! No! The time is no!
Now is the time to put them out!
The time is
What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to work. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to take a stand. Cause the UNC have the plan. Put up your hand if you understand.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, it's for the UNC and the rising sun.
We are in Grand River, the hometown of our candidate for Toco-Sangre Grande, Miss Nabila Green. And the reception here is fantastic. All of her family, her relatives, the entire village, they are out supporting. And I am confident that Nabila Green will bring victory to Toco-Sangre Grande. My darling,
you're not saying nothing.
I know. Say no more.
You have to say nothing.
I don't know.
You're going here, you have our full support.
Right. Hello, Trinidad and Tobago. I am Peter Kanhai, Chairman of the United National Congress. I am in the constituency of Toco-Sangre Grande today with our candidate, Ms. Nabila Green, for this constituency. And right at this moment, we are actually in Grand Riviere Nabila's hometown, where she was born, bred, and grew up. And we are here campaigning with her to make sure that Nabila Green becomes the next Member of Parliament for Toco-Sangre Grande, as well as to ensure that the United National Congress returns to government and Kamla Persad-Bissessar returns as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Hi, I am Nabila Green, your candidate for Toco-Sangre Grande. Presently, I'm in my hometown, Grand River, with my UNC family, accompanied by biological family. We are on the ground, we are working hard, we are going from house to house, reminding of my villagers rather, of how important it is to come out and vote for election day for the representation that we desperately need. Now is the time for proper representation. Now is the time to make sure I'm registered. Now is the time where 50,000 jobs will be available if you come out and vote. Now is also the time for secondary school children to have access to laptops. Now is the time. Now is time to vote for Nabila Green.
Now is the time!
No! The time is no! No! The time is no! No! The time is no!
Here we are in Akono village walking with our candidate, Mr. David Nakid. This is his hometown, and I think there are about 197 Nakids in this village.
Right now, everything is looking great so far, the candidate, sticking up to the word, Right now, we started agriculture, thing up in the back of Kono there for the youths and them to bring them out, get them employment. David Nakid, David Nakid is a down-to-earth man. Cool, he humble, he does listen, he arms open out for everyone. Yeah, David representing the youths, Yes, right now we are on the great road to victory.
Hi everyone, I'm your candidate for Tinapuna, David Nakid, asking you to come take a look at the energy that the UNC is generating all along the East-West corridor, especially here in the constituency of Tinapuna. Come out and support our economic and social transformation package, designated by our PL Kamla Persad-Bissessar. 50,000 more jobs, lower taxes. Come and join with us moving forward with unity.
Hi, yes, nice to meet you. Right, looking forward to the support. Things going very well here at Barataria San Juan. The energy is high, the election bell has rung, and Barataria San Juan is ready to get Trinidad and Tobago working again under the leadership of the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar as our next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
I am Sharon Marat-Durham, Shadow Councillor for Barataria, and we have been working Barataria since last Wednesday. So far, when we are finished today, we would have completed 14 of our PDs, and the reception is exceptional. Everyone is coming out. In places where we think people wouldn't be coming out, they are coming out. Now is the time for the United National Congress. It's pace on the road.
Now is the time to put them out. Now is